Hey everyone, welcome to GameMarx. This week we're going to take a look at one very happy cat, one Japanese role-playing game that didn't come from Japan, and one apology. Okay everyone, welcome to the show. I think this week I'm going to go first with the reviews. My review last week was our game of the week last week, Alpha Squad. So I gave this game a pass, and I think we apologize to the pool game, which probably would have been our game of the week.
Yeah.
Alpha Squad is riddled with bugs. That's the main deterrent on this.
But you couldn't really tell from an 8-minute trial.
No, although I did encounter some kickbacks to the screen. Like, I knew going into it we were going to have some issues, but there are bugs that cause crash and dialogue. You know, you're going through dialogue, talking to someone, and it crashes out. There's also some bugs where you get onto one screen and then you can't get off that screen. You can't reach the exit because it's blocked by the level design. It's just, you know, I guess nobody ever tested that level or something.
He showed me one where you basically miraculously warp from one screen to the next because it forgets which screen you're supposed to be on.
You can go into one house and go upstairs, and then when you exit the upstairs, you pop out on another screen on the level. There was an exit door. The exit door is meant to be shown in one map, in Tokyo, in the new Tokyo area. The red exit door that appears there will also appear in the first start zone. Like, so if you enter
you can
Tokyo,
warp ahead?
well, no. It's a red door, so that means you exit the game, and it's not the proper ending, I guess you would say, to the game.
Right.
So if you go out that door, you end it, but that door that's supposed to appear in New Tokyo also appears in the first level once you've entered New Tokyo. So if you go backtrack to the first level, seeing if you overlooked anything, all of a sudden there'll be a new red door you've never seen there before, and it's the same one.
And it's in the middle of the roadway.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
completely out of place. So there were a lot of issues, and one of the big issues is that even if you fix the bugs, the game itself has some issues. I could stand in place and shoot everything on the screen, and then if I just kind of not shot a lot of times, including the final boss, if I just kind of like stood my ground and let things unfold around me, it'd be really easy to pick everybody off. So even if they come back and fix those issues, they have AI issues to deal with. The upgrades aren't worth upgrading. The basic gun is best.
Well, the other ones are limited to a certain amount of ammo, so you buy them and then you're out pretty quickly.
And yeah, they're very expensive, and you run out of ammo very quick, and you can't carry more than one power-up. So if you have another gun in your inventory to replenish the ammo when that one runs out, then you can't pick up any other ammo for... then you can't pick up any other health. You know, you can't carry a health pack or use a health pack. You kind of have to shoot up the ammo you've got to pick up the health pack to use it. And it doesn't even tell you in the inventory screen. So if you buy an item, it doesn't tell you can only really buy one item at a time. It'll let you buy multiple items, waste your cash, and just replace them.
Keep replacing each other.
It's just really rough running it all through and through. It has a good idea. It could be a decent game, but
The
it needs
artwork
to be...
is great.
The artwork is
Yeah,
good.
it plays really smoothly. It's a really nice looking
Nice
game.
effects.
It's just sad that
It needed a lot of polish. It needed a good polish phase. I think that's the lesson here, is that if you're going to embark upon a large scope game, then the larger the scope, the larger the QA time, quality assurance time that you need to allot, and the larger just playtesting and polish. I mean, just reevaluating and everything. So, I mean, a game like this wouldn't surprise me to be more than a year in development.
Yeah, especially with the multiplayer being baked
Which I
into
couldn't even
basically
play or test
everything.
because that was completely broken.
Yeah.
Developers promise patches are coming, so maybe this will slowly catch on, hopefully. It's a lot of work has gone into this game, clearly, so
Yeah.
I mean, I hope that they do it. But as it is now on the site, I rank that one a pass. So Alpha Squad got a pass for me, as it is today. So next up on the review list, Dylan, you wrapped up one of our indie winter Uprising games.
Yes.
Aphelion 2.
Yes. Which is it's not even a sequel. It's actually part 2. The first one ends with a cliffhanger. So if you haven't played that, go play that before touching Aphelion 2. And one of the nice things is it really improves upon the original. It fixes some of the rough edges in the UI. Long inventory lists are no longer an issue, and the level up screens easier to use. They've completely redone the stat trees, and they've added a new character. So it's nice to see that they've upgraded the game, in addition to finishing up the story. And the story was really kind of what I took issue with, or I had an issue with. I don't mean to. Some people are gonna like it. If you like it, if you like JRPGs, you're probably gonna like the way Aphelion 2 ends the story.
I think that, to back up a second, that almost is a hallmark of some good storytelling. If you can be upsetting people by the ending, or
Yes.
people. I mean, if people can polarize off the ending of the story, then they attached to themselves to the characters. They felt invested in the story,
Yes.
and they cared about the outcome. If you can have a horrible ending and people just whatever, that you never engage them. So even though you may have issues, that means you're going to care about the characters along the way.
Well, I think the way I put it in the review was the first one felt like kind of a mix of Mass Effect and Final Fantasy VII, and this one went farther towards Final Fantasy VII than what I would have
Streamline
liked.
that Mass Effect right out.
Yes, as far as story goes. But again, if you like JRPGs, you'll probably like this.
But at the end of the day, this one was
Very good game. Very long game if you explore it. There's actually a side quest system in this one that there wasn't in the first one. It actually looks like it's built to take advantage of the New Game Plus feature. It seems like you're supposed to go through several times before you can complete some of the side quests.
But it's a buy.
It is a buy.
It is a buy. So that is Aphelion 2, and it's a buy. So now we have the cat that I mentioned earlier, a puzzle game, and this puts a bow on the Arkedo series, because now we have covered them all. And this one, Cicely reviewed Arkedo series 2, Swap.
Yes. This is a match 4 game. And it's cute. I played it the first time when we had GameMarx in beta, and remembered it because of the cat. The cat is very memorable and
Bipolar.
Definitely bipolar. And I kept watching him in the side as I'm trying to match the 4. I just keep looking at him like, what are you doing now? When you play the trial, you don't get the story mode, but the story mode is just insanity. And the levels are very, very, very long. But they're named cute.
It had good music going to it. It definitely looked like a pretty well polished puzzle game. Now the review's still being written on this one, but so it may not be on the site when this is up. But what's the verdict?
It's definitely a try. It's a little bit slow for the match games, as far as I think, when it starts out, and it takes a while for it to ramp up. Like you can press a trigger and raise up the levels like you would in Tetris, with making stuff falling faster, but you have to like the cat to keep going.
You have to like some of the humor and stuff like that to make the puzzle good and enjoyable on that. So that is Arkedo Series 2 Swap, and that review isn't on the site yet, but will be very shortly. Okay, so now it is time for our new releases for this past week, and we had a lot of new releases,
Yes.
and it was actually tough to whittle down to 5 for the show. So once again, I'm going to recommend checking out the podcast where we will discuss all the new releases for the week and give you all the thoughts on them. We've actually changed up again how we're doing the new releases, and now we are all playing pretty much most of them. Anything that looks like it should be played and is worth a second glance, we're going to play it. So we'll have comments on everything on the podcast. The first one we have up is called Almost Total Mayhem. And it's listed as a platformer, but it's just kind of a weird one to describe.
Kind of a battle game. It's like a 2-on-2 storm the castle.
Feels kind of like Capture the Flag.
Yeah.
It is kind of a reverse Capture the Flag. It's instead of Capture the Flag, it's
blow
Throw the
it up.
Bomb.
Yeah.
Throw the Bomb. It has a wonderful art style. It almost feels like you're playing like some kind of Tim Burton-esque world game. Like it really has a weird draw style to it. It's a high art style. I dig the art style. I had a lot of issue with the game itself.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned this before we came in, that Dylan and I seem to have idiots for partners, and you seem to have lucked out, Cicely, and had the one...
I had the one partner who didn't completely fart his head off. It's like, it's just completely stupid, because you each other can grab the bomb yourself and try and make it over there, but your partner doesn't help you. No, he runs off in the opposite direction.
Yeah, that may have been our problem, because I know I picked up the bomb several times.
The idiot grab the bomb and run his butt over whichever way he wanted to. I'm there. I'm going to fight them off of you. But because it was hard for me to pick it up. It's hard for you to throw it, because almost immediately after picking it up, I throw it by accident. Half the time he does too, but most of the time he catches it. And if you can just keep the other people off of him, he was great. Yeah. I won.
Now, the full game actually does have a 2-player mode. I think the trial is limited to 1 player.
Yeah, I think the trial is limited. So that is Almost Total Mayhem, and that is 80 points. Platformer and Peanut Gallery is the developer on that one. The next one we have up is Distant Galaxies in the classics. Which, yeah, I'd say it's a classic. LFM is the developer on that. So this is a scrolling shooter that you smoke a little weed on, and
really,
and you slow things down a bit, and you know.
I wouldn't go that far. See,
this is not a Twitch game, at least not to start. Not to start. This is not. This is an easier paced scrolling shooter game.
Yep, definitely. I played it with one hand while holding her. She was asleep again. And there's an auto fire mode, and so you just use the thumbstick to go around, and that was great. Just like, yay, I'm playing a almost dual stick shooter.
Well, no, this was before you had 2 sticks on a controller. This is
I'm playing a scrolling shooter, and she's asleep.
It used this to its advantage, though.
Yeah. It was kind of the point, because the path in the levels actually fork, and there are ways you can go back around and pick up power-ups and, extra bonus points. So that was kind of its thing.
So that is Distant Galaxies Classics. LEM is the developer, and that is 80 points as well. The next one we have translates literally, according to Google, to Fire Dragon Legend High School. Although the box art gives you some clue on the title that it is the Legend of Dragon Flame High School. And we have a new guest on the show. We have Google Translate on the show, and we'll pronounce this for you. Hey. So, that is what we're talking about now.
Because it's all in kanji.
I'm sure you totally can figure out how to spell it from that as well.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it starts with RYU, but you can't see that from the box art.
The game does have full English mode.
Yes.
So we should point that out, that the game, even though the title is in Japanese, that the game does have English, so you can play it. And Dylan, you were kind of liking this one.
Yeah, it kind of played like some old 8-bit beat 'em ups, kind of like
Double Dragon.
Yeah, more. There was a game called River City Ransom.
Yeah.
River City.
That was that. I was just waiting for them to go barf every time I saw them.
Yeah.
Because they're in that art style.
Not quite a
Yeah.
Mutant Ninja Turtles,
No.
but
No, but you can pick up money and then use it to buy power-ups and new moves and things like that. There's an
health is smiles for free.
Yes. It's hard to get a good idea of the scope of it in 8 minutes, but I think it may be one that I review.
This one has the
Some point.
potential. It could have a story that pulls you through what
Yes.
otherwise might be repetitive gameplay. You know, it's kind of like
There is, but the translation doesn't seem to be that great,
English.
so...
English.
we could talk about English on the podcast. There's another game in there that didn't make the video cut, but we'll get to
Yes.
that one on there. So, The Legend of Dragonflame High School, or, as our special guest can say,
竜歩道高校伝説
is on the Xbox Live Indie service. It is 80 points, platformer, and Hunters is the developer on that one. Coming up next, we have Aban, Hawkins, and the Thousand Spikes, or Indiana Jones and his Temple of Doom Spikes.
His Temple of Fail. I love the game. I am going to review the game. I've gotten pretty darn far in the game, and if I can get my rhythm down, I will beat this game.
Define pretty darn far.
Pretty darn far as I'm almost out of the first level.
Okay, like the first set of
the first set of 1-5.
1-5, did you say?
I
you
think
were?
so, yeah.
Okay. Because that is how hard it is.
Yes. They give you 1,000 lives to play, and that's kind of scary because when you look at it and you're like, well, I have a whole 1,000 lives because the game's not going to be a thing, but when you start playing it and you die as often as you die, and then you've lost 100 lives on World 1-1, then it almost makes it like, should I restart? Because if I already dug myself a ditch I'm not going to get out of, like, I would hate to get into like 3-5 or 3-4 or something like that, and then realize you only have 2 lives left, and, you know, what do you do at that point?
You restart.
Yeah.
And try to get better at it. I thought it looked pretty interesting. It definitely is harder to know in advance what's going to kill you.
Yes.
It really is, unfortunately, kind of like, okay, once you get this far, then you'll die, but then you'll know next time. And it's a memory thing of just remembering what's going to get you.
A combination of Battletoads where you had to memorize the bike levels and Mega Man where you have to learn to recognize what's going to kill you in advance.
Yeah. Or, you know, even in Mega Man, like the block patterns when you're jumping around a little bit, you know, you had to know those patterns as they would scroll off screen even. I remember that.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit to that. I'm glad you're going to review it because...
I like it too. Right now it's a buy. It's going to have to fall off the buy list for me, even as hard as it is. It's just hilarious to me.
I don't know. If you actually try to finish it, you will probably get frustrated. Like, you go through the tutorial, it does have a nice style, it plays well, and then...
I actually never played the tutorial.
It kills, like...
No, I didn't realize it was tutorials either until you said something.
Like, you die on the first jump in the game. And it just,
you are dead.
So that is Aban Hawkins and the 1,000 Spikes. That is an action and adventure, JPN, 8-Bit Fanatics developer on that, and that is 80 points. So our last game of our 5 new releases that we're going to cover here, Solar Struggle Survival. It's a shooter, Z Software, and I kind of got down on this one. I got into, I think you guys said that you had a little issue trying to figure out how this one was working.
I was irked because I could not nose up and down in my battles, but I suppose that makes it a little bit more usable. It
eschews, it looks like it's a 3D space shooter, but it doesn't let you move vertically. So you're only moving in X and Y coordinates. You're not going up and down. And therefore, to shoot things, it's really kind of a distance game, that you're trying to get them at the right distance and shoot them. But it's a really immersive game. I think there's some good, even if somebody doesn't end up liking the game, and I think I'm going to review this one just from playing it again this time again. I mean, I really got into it, and it really gets you immersive, and even things like upgrading the ship and all that don't really take you out of the game. In fact, they're done mid-game, which I thought was really cool, that you can upgrade your ship and change your configuration of weapons just on the fly and then jump right back into the action.
I think the difficulty I had too was I think I skipped past that help screen.
I saw that help screen, but I didn't understand it. And watching you play with it, I still don't understand it, but I know it is the key to winning.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this game has definitely you need to get it. You need to get where it's coming from and how it's set up, and kind of go with its flow, and then, it's pretty interesting. And, even though there's a one stick to move around, you do use the second stick to kind of boost to left or right, and so to do stronger turns, you use two sticks, and it's a slightly awkward control scheme. I haven't quite got that down yet, but I'm kind of like it.
The left stick.
Yeah, you can boost forward as well as boosting to the side, and then you can be turning and boost to the side to get even tighter, and then of course if you slow down, you have a tighter turn. So it can be tricky. You saw in my last fight that I couldn't maneuver quick enough to keep on that last boss.
That dude, he looked like a hummingbird.
The side-to-side thing is also used for evasion, I think, and that kind of threw me off because I just couldn't coordinate the two things.
So that is Solar Struggle Survival. It is Shooter Z Software, and it is 80 points in the service, which brings us to picking a game of the week. Hopefully we're going to do better than last week, but
I think the ones that we have to choose from this week aren't so prone to bugs.
I don't think we'll have a pass, but who wants to go first? I mean, who feels to throw a candidate out there for nomination? I feel like this one could be a tough week.
I'm thinking either Thousand Spikes or High School.
Yeah, I would say High School or Distant Galaxies.
The Distant Galaxies? See, I'm not big on the High School. That's two for the High School, but Thousand Spikes seems to... I kind of lean towards that one. I didn't get too into Distant Galaxies. I would say Solar Struggle, but I'm not going to carry that one with you two, so I'm not even going to throw that one out there. I'm going to go with one.
It's a good game. It's a really nice game. It's just not...
So we have Thousand Spikes or High School, I guess, is the top two. And
I would say Thousand Spikes. It actually is a good game. The difficulty kind of turned me off.
The difficulty, I mean, that's got to be your thing, right? And even when we review games, we shouldn't take that into consideration in the review. Like, this could be a buy, but if this is not your thing, then it's not a buy for you, right? So, that's, so you kind of play here. It's not my thing, but this is a well-cost game.
Yeah,
so
it's not quite in the hardest fun genre that we've talked about before.
This one has a low enough difficulty curve where I can actually see myself eventually beating this game.
And it's also not self-conscious about its difficulty.
No, it's like, you will die. You will die a lot.
So, Aban, Hawkins, and the 1000 Spikes break out the crystal. Congratulations, you are GameMarx Game of the Week, and will reap all the benefits that come with that.
Don't screw it up like the last one did.
One more bit of news before we sign off. We want to give shout out to our friends at Anime Roundup. They also host on Blip TV, and they do a very similar thing like what we do at GameMarx, only they are reviewing anime, and they got out their first show this week. So go jump over and check out AnimeRoundup.com and watch their first show and subscribe to them. If you have the slightest interest of anime, these guys know their stuff. So everybody else, thank you for watching.